Good morning, Vigor Warriors. Vigor Warriors 2. Hope everything is going well. Didn't get a chance to do one yesterday, kind of running around. I didn't have to teach during the day, so I ran a bunch of errands and didn't get a chance to do one. So we're going to follow up and try to do one early this morning. So how are you guys doing? Hope everything's going well. Hope everything is on a purpose, on a plan. You guys are kind of following through and kind of working towards your goals and not worrying about all this other stuff around us that's going on. We're kind of living in this matrix where you never know what you're listening to is true or not. And so you just have to kind of go by how you feel and how things are reacting to you. And I think that intuitively you gotta have to kind of think to yourself, well, what is really going on here? So I believe that we see a lot of this stuff going on nowadays, and we have to kind of decipher and discern what is good and bad. So again, this is March. I don't know if it's again because I didn't say it the first time, but I think it's March 22nd, 2022, and hope all is well, and hope all you guys are all doing well today. It's early, so we'll try to kind of knock one out and just kind of have a discussion this morning on our journey. As our next day on our journey, I think that 54 and 179 monk mode, something like that. So kind of moving along with that. I think one of the things I want to talk about today, and please before we do this, go ahead and subscribe, comment, like. I always keep forgetting to say that, so if you guys can, go ahead. Please go ahead and do that, and I appreciate that. As you can see, I'm a little tired this morning. But let's go ahead and look at the idea of value and what is really important and what is not important. And I kind of hit me again this weekend at a party I was at, with a birthday party. And it was interesting to kind of just see how people react to people's success and all these type of things. If some people have money and some people don't have money, it's interesting to kind of see the reactions people have. And why I bring this back to our journey is because a lot of times we get affected by the trappings of these success or ideas. And what do I mean by that? Well, I think that whenever you look at people who are wealthy, who have money, they invariably get caught into behaviors that in many ways become self-destructive. Now, why is that? I suppose that's a topic even for another discussion here. But when you look at the trappings, and I call them trappings because a lot of times the wealth and abundance is something that we're blessed with. But if we don't recognize that, we end up being more trapped in it than anything else. And what I mean by that is that now you're caught making so much money and living a certain way with bills a certain way that now you have to continue living like that, and you have to continue making that kind of money. And so it's not so much of a case of, well, I can go ahead and change that and all of a sudden now make a lot less money, because now it's going to be a problem for me to pay my bills and keep my house and all kinds of stuff like that. So the whole idea of value is really a key important one here, because value really means, are you really kind of get the most out of something that you have? And when you look at these things that are material things, money, objects, those type of things, they of course do not last. They come and go, and whatever they're able to purchase with the money, that comes and goes as well. It may be a nice satisfaction for a few days, but in the long run, it's not something that's going to stay with you. It's just something that's not going to stay with you. This is why what you're doing on your journey is a long-lasting value. Because what ends up happening is that you end up having a value that's within you and not on the outside. And I see a lot of this with people who believe they look at the outside and they think the outside is what's more important than the inside. And I'm talking about a person, of course. And when you're looking at the inside of a person, you're looking at someone who has a lot of strong beliefs and ideas that make that person whole and make that person strong from within. And that kind of person has those type of values we're talking about. Invariably, when you talk about people from the outside who measure their worth from the outside, they get caught into the latest type of thing that's going on, the latest fad, the latest thing that happens, because they're basically focusing on just trying to get that next thrill, the next excitement. And money may give them some of those, and then they try to get more of those. And why would you think people put all this money into sporting events, watching that? Because they're trying to get a thrill for that game, whatever it might be. Or why do you think they put so much money into the OnlyFans and this kind of other stuff and all the kind of stuff that we talk about? Because they're trying to get a thrill. And you can see that in your, in these type of things you're talking about. When a person sees a picture and maybe they release because of the picture, the next time they're going to have to find something even more, because they may not have the same reaction to it. So it becomes a really addictive cycle where people have to continue to up the game to be able to get more excited. And that's really all about its excitement. Yeah, you need money to live and things like that, but really this is all about excitement. People are not happy being who they are from within, and so now they're trying to get excitement from outside, and they're trying to create that excitement around them, and so they'll do a lot of crazy things. You watch these crazy movies that I can't remember the guy's name anymore, but they I think it's Jack something, I can't remember that. Maybe it's Jack Butt or whatever it's called. What I'm talking about. But those type of things, those guys, they create problems on purpose. Why? Because they want people to come out and watch them. And it reminds me of the old jester back in the old days of the king and queen court, that they will throw money at the jester for entertainment. Well, the jester's making a fool of themselves, but they don't care because they're making money. But see, down deep, that is something that bothers people. Their whole conscious level is bothered because they're not really earning the money except for making a fool of themselves. And they realize that. And so a lot of the court jesters over in the old days, used to just go out, and people, once they couldn't do it anymore, they just, everybody forgot about them. Because they couldn't do the service that people wanted them to do. And that was basically to make people laugh. And the same thing happens now in all the things we're doing. All these things serve a purpose for people to use in a certain way to make them behave in a certain way. So as we look at this, one of the things to be aware of is what we're talking about, is that materialistic value. Is that idea that at some level we need to realize what's inside of us. And the value of things is internal. That's where the value of this goes. And this is why keeping your nutrients, keeping your energy, is really important. Because when you look at this, you're really looking at trying to keep yourself whole. And part of that then, the second part of this, is trying to keep your internal values whole and strong and be able not to be succumbed by a lot of external forces. The evil one, the external forces are always there. I heard a friend of mine was saying a couple days ago about the local police department and how they would be doing steroids to make themselves get bigger and all this kind of stuff, those artificial types of things. And I saw a trend of that with weightlifters and athletes back in the 1990s. And it reminds me of the same old thing, that people are trying to take shortcuts to become a better person, when in fact they're missing the whole point of trying to have that faith from within and developing your inner qualities first, and then the other qualities will come out. And I've seen this happen a lot of times. People who have great inner qualities They may not have those type of looks and things when they're younger, but when they're older, those things come out. And I've seen the opposite as well. People who looked tremendous when they were younger, but had a lot of negative internal qualities, and eventually came out to hurt them on the outside as they got older. And this is because what you're having is you're really kind of having internal dialogue with yourself. They call it interpersonal communication. And they have an internal dialogue with yourself as you go along of how things are going in life. And if you're peaceful and happy, and you're able to accomplish anything, internally that you really want, your wants are not that great. You have certain needs, but you don't have a lot of wants. Then all of a sudden you become a lot more peaceful. And that's really the value of things we're talking about. The idea is if you don't need a lot of thrills, if you don't need a lot of things to make you happy, well, then you're bound to be more peaceful. You're bound to be more strong because you really don't need that much to really make yourself happy. And so those things you have around you are enough to make you have a certain attitude or behavior that makes you really, really strong. So this is the kind of thing we're talking about here when it comes to being on your purpose, being on something that is really going to benefit you in the long run. It's really more of a case of strength, of internal strength, not external strength. And so I think this whole idea of value, going back to it, is important. What is the value you're trying to get from things? Are you trying to really kind of look at the internal value? Or are you trying to get the external value? The external value will only last a certain period of time. And though it may be satisfactory in the short term, in the long term it's not. And it's something that you're not going to be able to take with you, obviously, anywhere you go, because at some point it's going to pass away. Now the internal things are going to be with you all the time. I mean, this is how you look at life. This is how you see things. And as you see things in a certain way, you're going to go ahead and kind of put everything in your life around that type of thing. And that's where it makes a big difference in how you interact with things and how you do things. And so this journey we have is really a good example of that. I mean, these are types of things that you focus on as you go around. And as you look at things, you're kind of saying, okay, I'm going to try to, live my life in a certain way where my internal things become more important. And this is what happened to me. I went from the external things to more of the internal things, and I couldn't be happier. So, all right, my friends, well, just a little bit of a discussion on value a little bit. I think that sometimes what ends up happening is that we get caught up thinking all these other things have high value, whether they're drinking or addictions of some sort like gambling, betting, these type of things. This all gives you excitement for short term, but it also puts you in a state of needing that excitement, and you're going to need more and more excitement. This is why betting and these type of things, they go to extreme levels if people are not able to control themselves and be able to kind of control the behavior. So, all right, I want you guys to have a great day. This is Tuesday morning. This is March the 22nd, and we will talk to you at some later point. Hopefully we'll do one tomorrow morning, if God be willing. Guys, have a nice day, and battle on.